Alright, YouTube, this is Keith with Less Magic, More Gathering, and we are back for another random card deck tech. Today, our random card is... My screen moved. Demanding Dragon. 5-drop, 5/5 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target opponent unless that player sacrifices a creature. So, let's do it! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, fans of Magic, like I said, we're working with Demanding Dragon. So, to make this as easy as possible and still be super fun, we went mono red. So, there's lots of dragons, new dragons, old dragons. Dragons is a thing now. We had a lot of fun making this deck, and the main purpose of this deck is using red to ramp up and pump out some big dragons early. During testing, I had at least a couple games where I was able to drop a 5-drop on turn 3. So, Glorybringer on turn 3 is fun for you, but not your opponent. And if it does go long, we've got ways to stick in the game, and we can handle some different situations. We do have a little bit of a matchup problem with control, but who doesn't, right? Control just sucks for everybody. That's the point. Everybody's supposed to have trouble with control, but we can work through those sometimes and make some things happen. So let's take a look at all the creatures we've got in here. Obviously, we've got the Demanding Dragon. We went with 3 copies. I'm going to look at the dragons first, and then we will skip back and look at the other cards that we've built around too. So we've got 3 copies of Dragon Egg. That's a new one from M19. I'm not sure if this is a reprint or not. But either way, 3-drop 0/2 Defender. When it dies, you create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying, and pay a red, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So, you'll see how that spell there can be interesting later. We got 3 copies of Glorybringer. Everybody knows Glorybringer, so we'll skip right over that one. We got 2 copies of Laughless Dragon Queen. 6-drop 6/6 flyer. And whenever another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, as long as it's a non-token, you create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. So if you get Laughless out early, then you can start dropping your other dragons around her and create more dragons. And then you can also pay 2 and all your dragons get +1/+0 until end of turn. So that's super fun. We got 3 copies of Metallic Mimic just to help in the early game. If nothing else, it's removal for our opponents to worry about. They're going to have to take care of Metallic Mimic, or some of these dragons later in the game are going to be ridiculous. I counted that as a dragon because it's going to come in as a dragon. We've also got 2 copies of Varric's Bladewing, which is a 4-drop 4/4 flyer, or it's a 7-drop 2 4/4 flyers. So that can be fun if you get the right mana. Now, to go around these dragons, we've got 3 copies of Catalyst Elemental. 3-drop 2/2 you can sacrifice to add 2 red mana. We've also got Dismissive Pyromancer. 2 copies of Dismissive Pyromancer. 2-drop 2/2. It's a grizzly bear that you can pay a red and tap to discard a card and draw a card. So once you've got your mana base built up, you get a Dismissive Pyromancer out there, and you can start cycling through more cards, and it can really help you get to the things that you want to get to. We've also got 3 copies of Skirk Prospector. 1-drop 1/1. You can sacrifice him to add a red, essentially, is what he's going to be useful for. And we've also got 3 copies of Wily Goblin, a 2-drop 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token. So we're going to use our Wily Goblin, Skirk Prospector, and Catalyst Elemental as ramp. We really don't mind sacrificing 1 or even 2 of these creatures if it's going to mean that we get a Glorybringer or a Demanding Dragon or something like that out. So the optimal line is to have a turn 1 Skirk Prospector, a turn 2 Wily Goblin, a turn 3 land drop, and then you can sacrifice your Wily Goblin and your treasure token to drop out a Glorybringer or a Demanding Dragon for 5, or even a Varric's Bladewing you could do if you don't have one of those cards. You can get that 4-drop out on turn 3. So lots of good ramp, lots of good dragon spells. We also use some Sarkhans here. So we've got one copy of the Planeswalker deck Sarkhan. Now, he's more expensive, twice as expensive as the other, but his ultimate ability I think is better. So Sarkhan's +2 ability, he comes out with 5 loyalty. You can +2, he deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature your opponents control. So you're going to be able to essentially Goblin Chain Whirler every turn. He's also got a -3 where he deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. And then his -9 lets you search your library for all your dragons, put them onto the battlefield, and shuffle your library. So that ultimate is obviously redonkulous. Now you're going to need what? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to need 3 turns after he comes out until you can ultimate. But if you get to that point, it's going to be crazy. Shit's going to go down. And we've also got 3 copies of the other Sarkhan. Sarkhan Fireblood is only a 3-drop. He comes in with 3 loyalty. And he has a +1 of you may discard a card if you do draw a card. He also has another +1. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragon spells. So that's another way that we can ramp into some of our bigger dragons. And then his ultimate ability is going to be a -7. Create 4 5/5 red dragon creature tokens with flying. So you're essentially getting 20 power and toughness out there with his ultimate, which is nice. So you start out at 3, you go 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're going to need 5 turns to get that ultimate off. Final spells here to round out the deck. We got 3 copies of Spit Flame. Now this is nice. It's a 3-drop that does 4 damage to a creature, and whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you pay 1 and you can put it back in your hand. So it's recursion on an instant spell, and you don't ever have to exile it or anything, so you can get that back every time you cast a dragon, and you can use that to help keep the board cleared out so that you don't have to worry about getting overran. And then we've also got 2 copies of Thud. Thud's fun. I mean, it's 1-drop. If you get your dragon egg transformed and you get your 2/2 dragon that you can then pump up, you can swing in, and then you can Thud for the win. It doesn't take a ton of mana to make that thing do a ton of work for you. If you don't get that, then you can always do for the final hit. You've got Lathless Dragon Queen that all your dragons can get pumped up that way. You've also got them all coming in with counters because a Metallic Mimic adds a lot of value to Thud, and it can finish a game pretty frequently. You don't want this at the beginning of the game usually. You're going to use this as a finisher and hope it doesn't get countered, or use it in a situation where a counter is not an option. So Thud has really good value. You just really don't want it at the beginning of the game usually. You want to let it sit in your library and draw up to it later, and then use it as a finishing spell. So that's all the spells in the deck. Basic lands here. We got 24 mountains. Pretty easy. If we had access to Ramunap Ruins, we could throw that in there, but since it's been banned, we'll just stick with plain old mountains. This is going to be called a budget deck, I guess. TCG Player, you can get this for $83.91. Card Kingdom's at $108. So they're missing, looks like TCG Player's missing the Dragon Soul Sarkhan. But that's okay. You can go out and get that thing for $10 in your Planeswalker deck. So no big deal. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck. It was super fun to play and test. I'm going to keep it together and put it in my my collection of decks that I use during lunch, and hopefully it'll put in a lot of good work for me. Hopefully you guys can put this deck together and see what it can do for you too. If you'd make anything different, let me know. Let me know what you might do differently, what changes you might make, things you might add, or I think that there's a possibility you could take away a little bit of the ramp and maybe add in a couple more dragons. But during testing, we had pretty good results. You know, there was always a decent combination of those ramp creatures and dragons to play out afterwards. So it worked out well. Like I said, put it together, try it out. Let me know what you think. Hey, we'll see you next time. Deuces. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, come down here and press this thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to turn on notifications so that you'll see when we post new content. If you got anything to say, hit us up down here in the comments section. We always love hearing feedback and comments from people that are watching. Let us know what you think. See you next time.